Is it morning? Wakey, wakey. And just as planned, this is how the day goes. Oh yeah, get out of bed. Breakfast, done. Emails, demolished. Exercise, studying, taxes. All at once, baby! Ah, you've got it!
In this life, we really want to get all the productive stuff done as quickly and efficiently as possible, but sometimes that's really difficult. It's easier said than done. Here are 3 things that I do to increase my productivity. Now, the first hack I've got for you guys is background music. Whenever I work, I tend to have background music on just because it stops me from getting distracted. This happens whether I'm doing admin or if I'm creating YouTube videos. What I tend to have in the background is jazz music. I like it because it makes me feel really classy. Feels like I'm about to go into some fancy penthouse party or something like that. I usually type in relaxing jazz music into YouTube and just pick the first thing that comes up. Now, I get it, jazz might not be everyone's cup of tea, not everyone likes jazz. So what I think would benefit you as well is maybe looking into soundtracks. What Ali Abdaal does, the YouTuber, he listens to Harry Potter, he listens to Lord of the Rings soundtracks. Whatever's best for you, whether that's having a soundtrack or an ambient background music to listen to, it helps you keep focused. There have also been studies of students that have been studying whilst listening to music, and it's been found to have a positive impact there as well. And in my opinion, I think the reason why this is very effective is that it stops work sessions from getting stale. There's something that's very inspiring about being able to work to your favourite soundtrack and having that motivate you through the dull periods and the boring bits. I guess this taps into the deep work and hyper-focus idea that you get so immersed in the task that is at hand that everything gets blocked out. All the distractions don't matter anymore. Now, the second hack I've got for you guys is setting focus timers. I'll be honest, I never did amazing in school. I always struggled. I kind of was just pretty much average at most subjects. The one thing that I had difficulty with was sitting in a room and studying for an exam just because I found it so hard to focus. I found it so hard to concentrate on what I was doing. My main tactic was spending hours in a room staring at a book, just kind of hoping that something would go into my brain and then I can go back to the things that I wanted to do. And what I recognised now was the main issue is that I didn't set a limit for how much time I was meant to spend in the room. I just spent enough time in there to the point that I would get bored. I would be thinking like, oh wow, I've spent 2 to 4 hours studying today. I've definitely earned the right just to play video games now. Even though the quality of that work wasn't great at all, it was just me just staring into space most of the time. And once I finished revising, I would go back to playing video games for almost the same amount of time that I would have actually studied for. But what's changed and what I do now, which is quite effective, I usually just work for an hour and a half, just quite intensely. And I put my phone on Do Not Disturb mode or put it on a similar feature so that way notifications are turned off. People can't contact me. I can't see the notifications that come up. The only time I will go on my phone is if I'm doing something that is related to the task where I've got no way of accessing it unless it's on my phone. And distractions that take your eye off the ball, even for a second, can be really, really damaging. And to quote Cal Newport, once you're wired for distraction, you crave it. And what I do once the timer's up, I usually take a 5 to 15 minute break. Sometimes I check my phone. Sometimes I might do something like meditation to help calm my anxiety or do a bit of laundry so that I feel like I'm getting ahead on that. And once I've had that break for 15 minutes, I'll go back to setting a timer and then just working through everything again. And it's good because it's putting the pressure on, but it's also fair. It's not avoiding the workload, but it's also prioritizing that you do need a bit of time to rest in between the rounds. And to quote Al Pacino from The Devil's Advocate,
pressure changes everything, pressure. Some people, you squeeze them, they focus. Others fold. But you summon your talent at will, and you deliver on a deadline.
And the third and final hack is actively limit your phone time. I was having this thought the other day. I was in traffic in London, as I am most of the time, because as a property inspector, you're going from property to property. What I do in between going to property sometimes is respond to messages if I'm stuck in traffic. I might just dabble between songs that I'm listening to, so as soon as one gets boring, I just kind of flick in between. And what I've realized is that by doing this, it is creating all these demands for my attention. So by the time I get to the end of my day, or even during it, I'm just feeling absolutely exhausted and tired. So what I've started doing now is actively not going on my phone. And I would probably say this is quite an important skill to develop. Whenever we go from task to task, even if it's something which is just a distraction like social media, it actually creates something which is called attention residue, which means that the attention that you're spending on the first task is still left behind. What this means is if you are on a new task, you're actually technically still thinking about the thing that you were doing before that. And this makes it harder to focus on what you're doing at the current moment. What I tend to do now is put my phone on shuffle when it comes down to playing music, and I'll listen to all the songs, even if they're songs that I don't particularly like as much as others. And I find what that does, it helps restore my ability just to stay in the moment, stay present in what I'm doing, even if it's something as simple as driving or just being stuck in traffic. And what I've noticed is that I just generally feel a lot happier, like less stressed, and have a bit more energy when it comes to things. And it's all just from a really subtle, small change. And I think what this comes down to is the idea that willpower is actually a finite resource, and the more that we expend our energy in multiple directions, we actually have less willpower overall. And I think what we need to do is actually allow ourselves to be bored once in a while, because it means that when we're actually doing a task, we're concentrating on that, we're focused on it, we're actually got something to do that is demanding our attention. Now, going back to something I spoke about in one of my previous videos, this is the idea of Wu Wei. This is a Chinese phrase which means effortless action or inaction. And I think what Wu Wei fundamentally comes down to is that there's great benefit in slowing down and taking your time with things. Being fully immersed in the experience, not letting your brain just dart off in a million different directions just because you're just getting bored every once in a while. Sometimes it's those little moments of rest and recovery that can help us reach our optimum levels for happiness and also success in whatever we might be doing at one time. Rest and recovery is a very worthwhile practice which can come from doing little things like this on a day-to-day basis. So definitely worth thinking about, food for thought. Anyway guys, that is it. If you like this, comment, like and subscribe, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Onwards and upwards guys. Take care.